purpose of this video is to show DriverMate functionality. As we know, DriverMate is a tablet solution that's Android based that's designed to provide drivers with a digital manifest and for seamless communication between the tablet, which is typically mounted on the vehicle, and with the back office, which is running Novus demand response. What I have in front of us here is a simulator. I actually have the tablet right in front of me and it's mirroring, so this is actually showing the tablet on a device. You can see it orients nicely, and then in the back end here I have Novus demand response on the dispatch screen. So first off, right when we connect to DriverMate, we have here some information to log in, such as a mobile unit ID, which is usually the same as the vehicle number. So if the vehicle is 123, the mobile unit ID is 123, and then some other information that you can choose to use or not use, such as a driver PIN, a starting odometer, so on and so forth. So I've triggered now the login process by touching the login button, and what it's doing now is it's attempting to communicate with Novus, and once the communication has been made, it takes us here to a login checklist. And again, this is optional. You may choose to turn this on or leave it disabled. We can see here we were able to configure a list of questions, kind of a pre-trip. Are the fluids okay? Did you walk around the vehicle? Do the lift lights work? Are doors, windows, and mirrors okay? So many agencies use this as a digital checklist that's stored in Novus and can be reviewed in Novus as well. So it's a nice feature to have. Once we process the checklist, it's going to send that to Novus and then communicate back and retrieve the trips. Now, what it's doing now is it's retrieving the trips assigned to that driver, and it can be configured to send the next hour's worth of work, 2 hours worth of work, all day. That's something up to each agency to decide. We can see here we have a list of pull out, trip. We'll notice here that matches here what's in Novus. So we have pull out, trip, and what's in green is what was sent to the vehicle. So you can see here anything sent to the vehicle here is in green, and then once the driver is logged on, I have auto refresh turned off for demo purposes, but once I refresh, we can see that everything here now has been cleared, which means that dispatch and driver are synchronous. Now, from a driver's perspective, each event that's done, if we short press, we'll get additional information about that event. And if we long press, we'll get the ability to perform an action, whether we want to arrive, which means we're getting ready to leave, find location, which is bring up a location on the map, get directions. This is Android based, so you can use Google navigation if you're not really sure where the next pickup is, for example. So once I've arrived the pull out, which means I'm getting in the vehicle and I'm leaving the garage, each event has an arrive and perform, which is the time you got there and the time you left. And so now I'm heading to my first pickup, 8:15 at 1763 41st Avenue in Oakland. Again, this is just demo data, so I only have Oakland data, but we have the passenger, their space type, their customer ID. And then if I press on the event, you can see any additional information is back here. So if I want to see the schedule time, the fare to collect, the phone number, that information is listed. And then once I arrive to pick up Shelly, we'll see here that we can arrive, which means that we've actually arrived at the event. That'll send back to Novus the time that we arrived. And then you can see here we have a counter. This is a no-show counter that I have it set to 30 seconds for demo purposes, but once you've waited your allotted time for no-shows, only then will the no-show button show up. So you can see here if I press here, I don't see no-show. I can cancel at the door if that's enabled. But once I wait another 3 seconds and I long press this again, I now can request a no-show. Now, once I perform the event, We can see here, this is our long perform screen. You can choose to skip this if your agency doesn't use it, but this can track the fare collected, how many passengers, what if they were a wheelchair, not an ambulatory, you can correct that. Then we have the plus sign in the top right hand corner. If there was an additional passenger we weren't expecting, that information will all be sent back to Novus. Once I perform the event, it's gone, and so you can see really it only shows on the device the events that I still have to work with. Any events that have already been cleared are no longer on my screen, and it's sending back to Novus the actual arrive time, depart time, odometer reading, so there's lots of information that previously had to be entered in manually that's being sent directly back to you. Now if I come and I want to find the location here, we can see that the location is on the map. I can toggle traffic to see traffic conditions. And I also can get street view. If I'm not really sure where the next pickup is, I can press the street view and actually get aerial imagery here. So a lot of tools for the drivers to be able to see where they're going, see exactly the location, so on and so forth. Now, also, as I mentioned, everything's synchronous between driver and dispatch. So if a new trip is added by dispatch, it's popped up on your screen. If a trip is canceled, it's popped up. So an example of a pop-up is if we come in, and actually, you know what? Let me create a scenario really quick. So we can see here, I'm headed towards Melanie Bryan. Let's say she calls dispatch and cancels. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this, and dispatch says this is a same-day cancellation. Now that I've canceled this in dispatch, we'll see here that the driver gets a pop-up. So the driver's kept in the loop at all times. The trip has been canceled or removed by dispatch. The driver can acknowledge, and then based on clearing, once the screen is refreshed, everything is synchronous again. And the same type of message would appear with a new trip. If a new trip is inserted, a trip saying, or a message saying the trip has been inserted by dispatch will appear. So very synchronous. Furthermore, dispatch is able to send messages. So you can create canned messages such as call base as soon as possible. And then the driver will have the ability to reply. Typically only canned messages are allowed because you don't want to be typing and driving. So running late 5 minutes, for example, is sent. And dispatch will always be able to see the messages down here. And finally, there's also covert alarms. So up here there's an alarm button here if there is a situation, and again this is something that if you trigger, dispatch will see the emergency, and then if I had it enabled, there's also an audio signal that will be sent. I don't have it enabled this morning, but there would be an audio signal sent as well, so no matter what the dispatcher is doing, they'll be able to see that there was a covert emergency. So that's a brief overview of the DriverMate solution. Again, very simple to use. Digital manifests, you'll get actual times, actual odometers, two-way messaging, navigation, synchronous communication with dispatch, turn-by-turn direction. So a lot of features above and beyond a printed paper manifest, and that hopefully radio traffic will be reduced, and again it really provides enhancements to allow more efficiencies in the system, because we're also taking the data sent back from the vehicle to update schedules, so dispatch will know better schedule adherence. They'll know when trips are going to run late. So again, this is just a brief overview video, and hope you enjoyed it.